Thank you. Thanks for the warm welcome, Bart. It's always a pleasure. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you've connected from. So today I'll be speaking on Curl Head G. Curl Head G is a deep tech foray into commodity trading. So what do we do? Our key focus areas are in commodity trading. We develop products specifically for this domain, and machine learning and software engineering are the two main strengths what we have, and a whole lot of allied technologies that help us unlock value for our customers. So across the variety of use cases that Curl generally works in, one thing is quite common. We've always noticed that data always has a better idea. The trouble is, most organizations aren't listening to it. They're not listening to it simply because they lack the means to unlock value from data, which is always hidden within it. Because once you have a whole lot of data, which I think all of them have touched upon, it's very difficult to extract value from it unless you have the right tools that help you get there. And as Bart already pointed out in the introduction, that's precisely what we leverage on. We extensively leverage on machine learning and the multiple facets of machine learning to ensure that different problems are handled in different ways to extract information. And primarily, we have put all our energies into one specific problem that's basically been plaguing the entire commodity trading industry in general. So, as an industry, specifically in commodity trading and trade finance, even though there are platforms like VAT and many other platforms that are around, are working towards ensuring that digital data can be exchanged between the parties, there are always going to be participants who are outside this value chain. And that makes it quite difficult for getting that sort of information seamlessly into networks which will allow digital information to be exchanged with all of them. So how do we ensure that information which is unstructured and outside such networks, how do we build in connectors that help in bringing data from that sort of unstructured manner and allow it to freely flow inside networks like DLT or other networks that come into play? So, but doing that is going to be quite challenging, primarily because one, in the commodity trading industry, most of the information is in silos. And once it is in silos, and there's also, the information is not shared very freely. So that makes it very difficult for us to build out machine learning models once a large amounts of data are not available. And secondly, the data itself, specifically documents that are processed by the industry, come in various shapes and they come with various formats. So it's very difficult to get a very specific sort of a template approach to extract documents. A case in point is this example. There's a whole lot of text available in the documents and they're not equally spaced. Other documents like this have a lot of background information, and then there are vertical titles, making it more complex. You could have grains in the images in the background and fonts which are difficult for us to interpret. Or documents like this with a lot of bold in the fonts and disproportionate level. And then you can go on and on. Essentially, or you could get extremely poor quality scans or documents that are tilted. All this make it extremely challenging for us to basically write methods to just treat all this as templates from which documents can be extracted. So how do we solve this problem? So that's where SaraCF comes in. So Sara is the product that we've been developing at Curl Head G, and primarily geared towards commodity trading and trade finance domains. And the aim of this product is to extract data from unstructured formats like text and different other formats that we support along the way. Now, Sara derives its name from Sanskrit Saramsh, which means to crystallize, and that's exactly what we do. From an unstructured document, we crystallize what is the essence of the document and provide it in a much more structured manner via APIs that can be easily consumed by many other platforms. How exactly does Sara do it? So Sara essentially relies on two different methods through which it extracts it. This is very similar to how the human brain operates and processes information as well, either through knowledge or through memory. Now, knowledge is the mechanism where the machine learning models that are developed at Curl HG are extensively trained on data specific to commodity trading, making it very aware of the context in which this entire system is getting operated on. And once this context is made available to it, even if it makes a few mistakes, with gentle nudges, it's going to be now able to get to more and more precise ways in which data can be extracted instead of the more generalized approach it follows. It's very similar to you living in a city for a long time and then going to a new city that you've never been to. And you typically would like to navigate that city with the rules that you know of where you lived. But once you identify how to navigate from point A to point B in a city, the next time you get there, it's going to be a lot more easier. And that's precisely how Sara operates as well. And which is why once it's deployed in just on the same premise of our customers, it is able to extract information and learn as it gets more data, it gets better over time. So why talk about it when I can actually show you a demo of exactly this in action? So Sara, but we've just taken a sample document here to just explain to you how this could work. So here is a typical document that we process. And once this document has been provided, Sara does many things on its own. It's able to get back what is the document type. It is able to pick up very important information, pieces of information from the document directly. So as it does it, it helps the end user navigate and understand exactly where it derived that information from by providing helpful bounding boxes, which clearly tell the customer to the end user, where did Sara identify that piece of information? And all of this without any training that has to be done by the end user. All they have to do is out of the box, when they drop in something like a bill of lading, it would be able to pick up key pieces of information directly from this document. But let's assume at some point, this Sara did make a mistake. It configured a place. Sometimes it gets a commodity not exactly right. It's very easy for the end user to go back, just click on it and get the information directly from there and nudge it along and say, okay, here's what I actually want you to do. And once that's done, Sara gets a lot more intelligent next time around. So next time around, a similar such document comes into play. It really doesn't have to go through that entire hassle of figuring out a generalized approach to understanding what exactly is being done around it. In fact, now it knows precisely how to target this particular way in which data should be extracted. So that makes it incredibly powerful, that with very, very few samples that can directly be trained at the customer site, which even without training, it would give you a very high accuracy. But the moment you nudge it along the way, it could get better and better. And that makes it incredibly powerful as a utility to extract a whole lot of unstructured information that's generally available with commodity traders. This solution is also deployed in VACT, and we help VACT cater to a lot of barge nominations that come along the way. So here's an example of a VACT user interface, and once Sara is applied, some of the names have been redacted. Once a barge nomination has been applied, you could clearly see it picks up almost 35 pieces of information distributed across various types and formats in which we receive. And specifically even emails, which are difficult to get, Sara has a very high accuracy in document types such as that. So that's essentially what we do at SaraCF as a product. So what makes the key differentiators within SaraCF are the domain context. So this is not a generic character recognition engine. This is an intelligent character recognition engine specifically designed for the commodity trading market. So that's what gives it its essence. For example, a crude like Lisa crude, which is specifically found in one particular type of place, is not going to be easily understood as a type of crude. But because of the context information that has been enriched in our models, we would be able to clearly classify that and tag it and say, okay, that is a type of crude and it's a product that is available. Many such things are done in the background. And there are a plethora of models that are deployed from computer vision to help us identify documents that have clear patterns and structures in them, to NLP, where there's a lot of verbose information available in some documents. We're able to get the context from it. And sometimes you have words like "we, the undersigned, confirm." So the model recognizes intelligently what the undersigned means and ensures that it picks up the information from the relevant sections of the document. And a whole lot of deep learning based approaches are being taken here to ensure the accuracy is kept at a really high levels. The second is the entire sapience that has been built into the system over time, because every time we get newer document types, Sara gets better and better in identifying patterns between them and gets to build out eventually a knowledge graph of what the industry ideally requires. The accuracy, because of the two different approaches that we take for every document type that we process, it gives us incredible accuracy, even though at the onset, sometimes it may be a bit lesser, but with very few samples, we immediately jump way up the curve. And one of the key things we understand in commodity trading industry is the requirement of data to be protected. So SaraCF is being designed to be deployed on-prem. So at this point of time, it is available directly as an on-prem solution for our customers so that they can be rest assured that the data lies within their premises and the learning is happening on their premises and nothing needs to be coming back to us. Out of the box, the product works with the document types that have been rolled out. And we work very closely with many other ETRM providers to ensure connectivities are established between leading ETRM providers. And of course, the on-site learning, as I've already touched upon. So what exactly are the various document types that are of interest in the SaraCF world? Are the holy grail of documents that we want to complete is the intersection, is the complete list of documents that are of interest to commodity trading and trade finance domains. Overall, it is about 85 document types that are of our larger interests. Mostly, these are the next few documents that we have in our roadmap that we're closing. Quite a few of them are already available with us, but more documents are getting added as time progresses. Apart from this, there are a lot of use cases that we participate in. Because of the immense amount of research that has gone into building extensive solutions for extracting data from documents, we are now able to provide value additions on top of it. We're able to identify frauds that happen in invoices, for example, to know if a logo seems to be distorted, or if there have been any other manipulations that have been done against a given document type. We're in a position to identify that because over a large sample, we have noticed how these invoices are typically rendered. And many such use cases that work on top of this are all things that are of interest to us at Curl. So at Curl, our primary focus and the product that I spoke about today is Sara. There are quite a few products that are lined up. We plan to roll out something called Yati. Yati in Sanskrit means to control. So once data has been extracted from various such documents, what do you do next? How do you control this data and throttle it at an enterprise level to ensure real value can be unlocked, either through compliance or any other units that are of interest? So that's the next product that we are working on within Curl. And there are also turnkey solutions that some of our customers reach out to us for, and we do help them in building out specific solutions if it requires application of machine learning and software engineering to unlock value within their organizations. So primarily, that's what we do. As Curl is headquartered in Singapore, and our largest development center outside that is in Bangalore, which is where we are based out of. So with that, I hand it back to Bart.
Cool. Thank you very much, Jay. So again, excellent to see another innovative use across the commodities industry of kind of machine learning. And I think what we see there, so one of the reasons I took some time right at the very beginning just to introduce what the concepts were, the notion of the supervised learning, the reinforcement learning, the unsupervised learning, is I think in both the cases we've seen there, real world type solutions tend to combine all of them. You might start with something in the supervised space, move it to something in the unsupervised space, add a reinforcement model onto the end of it so that your engine can learn itself going forward, to which Jay talked about. So I think we see, the ongoing kind of demand for innovative machine learning solutions across the entire industry, the innovative way to kind of connect those together, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I'd like to thank very much both Jay and Maxim for taking the time to come and sort of speak to everyone today and help talk to that, and potentially open it up to the floor for any sort of Q&A that anyone may have. There's a couple of questions that have been flying in on the QA channel, but I think Maxim has done an excellent job of answering the expert panel ones. I'm not sure if he wants to drill into some of his answers maybe for the wider group as well, or any other questions anyone wants to put out. So yeah, Max, I'm not sure if maybe just for the wider group there who maybe can't see the question on the thing, do you want to maybe just touch on the two that have been there around the how would you classify auto machine learning and where it sort of comes in, and the second one,
yeah, sure. So one question, there was a good question about which category do we put auto ML? Is it unsupervised learning or something else? So auto ML usually is mostly, right? There are other things there as well, but mostly about the hyperparameter optimization. It can be applied to both, but usually it is found, it is used to find the best model parameters given the labeled input data. So that's for supervised learning. And you know, there are some really good solutions coming up to help with the hyperparameter optimizations in particular. However, you know, there's still no magic bullet. You know, there's nothing that's replacing somebody actually really understanding the data, understanding the features, and making sense, making that logical connection between the feature and what they expect the model to do.
Yeah. So
it's on that question. There was a question about, do we have plans to develop dry bulk as well? So we already have some chemicals on the platform. The same approach would be applicable. To be honest with you, there's so many really interesting things that we can do and are doing with the data that it's purely a matter of prioritization. So as I said, we have some of the dry bulk, not all of it, not super comprehensive, but we do listen to our customers and the market, and when there's enough demand, there will be supply, right?
Absolutely. Cool. Any other questions? I'm sure any of us will be happy to answer. Any others outstanding? If there's not, we can always kind of wrap up and give them back 15 minutes of their day. So yeah, I think we may wrap up there. So I'd like to thank both our speakers hugely for taking the time, and obviously all members of the audience for joining us. Yeah, it's been another very good sort of webinar, helping to kind of keep the industry, think about the sort of trends and patterns that are there, give exposure to some of the innovative thinking that's going on across the industry. Cool. So on that note, I'd like to thank everyone very much for their time, and wish you all the best. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.